Yo, what up guys? In this video I wanted to cover a few things that has just been going around like Reddit and stuff, and also to talk about the PvM nerfs, or the May game health update that we're actually going to be getting some more information on, and we've had an update from Hooli to let us know when that's going to be. Now I know most people probably wouldn't have seen this update from Hooli, so I thought it was worth sharing so that you guys knew what to expect. And there's a few other topics that I've grabbed around Reddit too that I wanted to talk about in this video. I like making these when there's a few topics that I would like to make videos and talk about, but they're not big enough to talk about on their own, so we mashed them all together. But let's get started and see what's going on in RuneScape. So first of all, like I said, Mod Hooli dropped a little post here that says about the May health update, which a lot of people have been waiting for because of course they stopped the actual thing that was meant to go through on the 12th, which basically everyone would know it as nerfing the bosses in PvM to like reduce their drops in total, to try and help fix the skilling economy, I suppose, by reducing the amount of skilling supplies coming into the game via those bosses. Now, a lot of people weren't happy with this because of the fact that it's like, well, you know, treasure hunter and lamps and experience stars. A lot of people weren't happy just because you're nerfing my drops, but at the same time, it just didn't really make sense to only look at the PvM bosses and the supply coming from there when you can literally log into the game and get hundreds of thousands of experience points in a skill immediately, just because you get 3 or maybe 2 daily keys, depending if you're a premium membership or not. And that's kind of like worse than the actual bosses. Like, there's no way you could log in and the amount of time it takes you to get those XP points, go and grind that much supplies from a boss. But they did take a step back on this and said they were going to look into it more, and they appreciate the feedback, which was a great thing from Jagex to say. However, they've put a post saying, usually wouldn't post something this small as a thread, but I didn't want this to be lost in last week's thread and never to be seen by anyone. The team have completed the design work this week, but we'll need a little more time to cook up a blog that can speak to them properly. We'll have a blog for you next week as promised. I'll be out next week, but Azana is looking after this with the team. Thanks for your patience. So basically, we should be hearing about this next week at some point to know what's actually going to be going on, and there should be a blog with it. Now, whether this is going to be on Monday with the news and the patch notes and stuff, probably not. I would assume it's going to be like midweek sometime, but it could be. So keep an eye out for that. And of course, whenever this does drop, I will be covering it and making a video on that too. So if you don't want to have to keep an eye out and look for it that way, then the best way would be to subscribe to the channel and make sure that you have notifications and whatnot, so that when that does come out, you can keep track of it. Now, there is actually a comment here that I wanted to talk about, and it's the most top comment, and I'm not surprised why. They put, I really hope MTX is addressed in your position. At this point, we can all agree it's part of the problem, and even if nothing has changed regarding it, at least it needs to be acknowledged as part of the issue. Yeah, true. And this comment is absolutely spot on, but it needs to be more, in my opinion, than just acknowledged. If they say we're going to nerf PvM supplies, but we know that MTX and, you know, treasure hunter and protein items and dummies and all of this stuff is a problem, but we're not going to do anything about it, that's going to go down really poorly and really badly for a lot of the players. The player base is not going to be happy, basically. I'd actually be pretty pissed off too, personally, because while if you want to nerf PvM like supplies and stuff, go for it. In my opinion, if the health of the game is important and this is what needs doing, you should absolutely do it. But don't try and tell me that the health of the game is so important that we have to do this, but we're not going to do what affects our income because the health of the game is not that important. They should be trying to do some sort of a balance here. In my opinion, the proteins and stuff, and double XPs so often, and all of this extra things through treasure hunter and that sort of thing probably makes a way bigger impact than the extra supplies that you get from PvM. So hopefully we see this addressed really well and clear, and actually covers everything and doesn't just say, we decided we're doing it anyway and good luck, get over it. But again, either way, if this does need doing, then it is what it is, and if they do feel like it needs nerfing, then at the end of the day, it has to happen. Moving on, I did see a Reddit post recently about people talking about, was there a rare drop table like shadow nerf to the stalkers in the game? And while whenever people would say like there has been a shadow nerf to this, I would usually say, don't be silly, you just got bad RNG, it's not true. People are saying that Rashiel got a nerf, and maybe there is actually context to this, but I don't know. Usually if Jagex does something like this, they will tell you in the patch notes. However, it was actually confirmed by Azana that yes, this actually is true. There has been a change, not a nerf, a change that resolved a bug with the Seeker or Stalker monsters access to the rare drop table. Apparently they were rolling this way more than they should have been, so they will now roll them as much as they were intended to. People are saying like, what the frick, this is way late, why are you doing this now? Again, I still stand by the fact that if they think it needs doing, if something's unintended, if you find a problem, just because it's been in the game for a long time doesn't mean you shouldn't remove it. You should fix it and make it intentional. Otherwise, you know, you end up with problems. And especially, like, keep in mind, imagine if there was a massive bug in the game that was like game breaking, but it was been in the game for 7 years. Should you just not remove it? Like, they definitely should be doing this sort of thing. So that's good. And even when they see stuff like this, they probably didn't announce this because of the fact that everyone's like complaints was with the PvM supplies drops. Like, why are you doing this so late down the line? Why has it just been like years and years? Probably the same reason why they didn't announce this. But Jagex, you should probably tell us if something's going to happen. It's better off in the long run because more people are going to be pissed off than if you just say, hey, this has happened, we're changing it. But either way, if you were wondering about this, this has actually been changed and the rare drop tables are going to be less common at these places. Moving on to something a little bit more lighthearted but impressive, actually. This person here posted something that said, Mobile Raksha, magic only, 145, brackets casual. One, that is not casual, let me just tell you. Unless you figured out a way to Revo++ this, you are insane. And they say, hey wizards, should I upload a video of how I'm doing it? Raksha magic with pool skips. Easy, lol. Magic needs a buff, hell yeah, it's strong but compared to range it's still behind. Hoping for Staff of Armadal passive and Masterwork tier 100 magic armor to improve. 145 magic on mobile, no switches. Yes, please video, so I can do this on PC. Please, this is crazy. If you guys know how this works, please leave a comment down below. I would love to know, because otherwise I'm gonna have to keep track of this post and watch a video on it, because this is crazy. So far I can consistently skip Raksha, but 145 is insanity. And if this is consistent and it is that fast, I want to know how this works 100%. So you keep your bragging rights there. I know the fact that the casual bit was probably that's got to be a brag, right? This is not casual, but you definitely deserve a little bit of brag, and nice of you to offer to actually share how you do it as well. Next up, someone said Vulcath is trash. I wanted to cover this because I actually love Vulcath right now. I think it's like my favorite boss in the game, probably, passing Karapak finally. And they say I'm here once again saying Vulcath is trash. Why is it impossible to click on the minions? Why does Zemorigal just randomly kill you? Yes, I have read the wiki many times, and to the people you just kind of know is a stupid way to defend a boss being garbage. I have killed every boss in the game, and not a single boss comes close to being the train wreck that Vulcath is. Now, I love Vulcath. I think it's my favorite boss, like I said, but I actually do agree that it does feel like this. For sure, it absolutely does. This person is not overreacting. They are not like out, like, I don't think they're wrong. I think they're absolutely right. I like Vulcath because it's hectic as all hell, but there is ways to deal with some things, which is why I figured, you know, we'd make this post. The minions, you don't have to click on them. You can actually just use the ballista to get rid of them. Ignore the minions unless it's the skeleton or the shield thing. At that point, just save your ballista, and unless it's like close to Vulcath flying away when you need it, you click that thing and it'll get rid of it for you, which is very helpful. And they actually conveniently is just enough of them to clear that guy off every single time he spawns in a safe way. Like, it lines up really well. As for Zemorigal randomly killing you, yeah, that just happens. I don't know. He'll use like Finger of Death, or he'll throw death skulls at you and it will absolutely destroy you. Yeah, just I don't know. You'll have to just pray necromancy, I suppose, in this fight, especially after Vulcath has flown away and come back, because his damage is going to ramp up a crap ton. So at that point, you definitely want to be using Protect from Necromancy the rest of the fight, probably. After some kills, you'll definitely be able to recognize, like, you know, when he's using certain mechanics like the death skills and stuff, but it's worth just dealing with it like proactively rather than trying to get to the point where you recognize it. Also, make sure you have an anti-fire. If you don't have an anti-fire on, Vulcath's gonna be the one that murders you. But yeah, I just thought I'd make this because if you do happen to see this, or if anyone else is wondering about the same thing, yeah, those are kind of the things that you do to deal with these issues. Vulcath, I love it a lot. People question why, but I genuinely do think it's such a cool boss, and I like it because of these things rather than, you know, I hate it because of these things. That is everything for today that I wanted to talk about. Mainly, the big thing was, of course, knowing that next week we'll get the update on the PvM nerfs and whatnot, and then other than that, that was just pretty much all I wanted to talk about. Update you guys on what I found and the talks that are going on Reddit and stuff. If you have any other information or topics you want me to cover, let me know in the comments. Please leave a like, sub to the channel if you are new, and help move this graph. And otherwise, I'll catch you all in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.